Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. Residue is a 2017 primarily horror movie that stars James Clayton, Matt Frewer, William B. Davis, who you may remember as the cigarette smoking man in The X-Files, and Taylor Hickson, and is directed by Rusty Nixon. And I say primarily horror movie because this film is a strange blend of a few genres, including horror, you've got sci-fi, you've got a bit of film noir, you've got detective story, you've got a few things going on in. It's all like thrown in the blender, and I suppose the strongest flavour left is horror in this movie. And this is a very interesting movie. I found. I think it succeeds and fails on a lot of different levels, which we shall talk about. But it essentially tells the tale of a detective who is given the task by Matt Frewer, who is like a wrestling promoter stroke low time mod boss, if you like. He's given the task of delivering a package to somebody who he's been tailing for a month, who apparently is squeaky clean, can't find any dirt on him. So he's told to deliver a package to him. They are attacked on the way by another crime boss, and he ends up not delivering the package and taking it home with him. And he opens it and finds inside the package it is this strange book. And when he starts reading the book, strange things start happening. And it then turns out that he actually has a connection to this book, and the idea is once you start reading the book, you need to get the end of the book to make it through in one piece. And he gets to like page 40 in one night, which is considered to be quite miraculous. So the powers that be decide to leave the book with him and observe him with cameras, etc., at a distance to see how he manages to cope with this book and everything the book throws at him. That's the basic premise of the story here. It's quite a complex, convoluted story in a lot of ways, and I think that's one of the areas that it fails in. I don't really feel as though the film did a particularly good uh, job of explaining itself. It's one of those movies when it finishes, you're kind of scratching your head a bit and you're just kind of thinking, I didn't quite get that. So I think it's either too clever or too confusing for its own good. You make your mind up. You might finish watching it and think, well, that was trite nonsense, or you might finish watching it and think that was quite intellectual. I quite enjoyed that. I feel I need to watch it again, because it does kind of make you feel like you need to watch it again because you feel like you missed bits, or if you watch it again, it might make sense more a second time round. Um, it's got a very Cronenberg feel to it. This movie. It reminded me very much of a Cronenberg movie when you're watching it. It's it's got the like kind of body horror elements in there, and but you'll know what you mean when you watch it. It does have a Cronenberg feel. The acting, generally speaking, throughout is pretty impressive. Apart from the beginning, they've got a couple of Matt Frewer, who makes any film great. He has a couple of goons working for him who are like wrestlers, who work for his promotion, and they were just terrible actors. They didn't add anything to the movie at all. Other than that, everyone else I thought was fine. It's got a nice sci-fi edge to it. This movie, there's technology in this movie that doesn't exist today, but they show it in this movie, and it kind of feels like a bit of an alternate reality. This movie in which it's filmed in. Um, Also has a very film noir edge to it as well, like the detective story, the narration, and just the look and feel of the movie. It's very stylized. So I thought that it was filmed really well, and it had its own identity and style, which I thought was really impressive. But it did have some odd plot holes as well that just didn't make sense to me. I mean, at one point, he's already started opening this book, and he knows strange things are going on, and he knows things aren't right, but his 18-year-old daughter turns up to see him and live with him for a while because she's in a bit of bother, and he just lets her into the apartment. bearing in mind that he knows that there's something weird going on with this book, but also bearing in mind that he's been attacked and shot at by mobsters, and he lets his 18-year-old daughter come and live and stay with him. That, to me, just felt a bit stupid, didn't make sense, even though she does kind of become pivotal to the movie. I feel they could have introduced her a bit better. So it has successes and it has failings, this movie, but I think it's overall a very interesting and stylish movie, and I quite enjoyed it, and it does actually make me want to watch it again. So see what you think.